Dietitian with Health Team Advantage. I'm here today with Chef Rocky, and we're going to talk about some healthier options for grilling during your summer gatherings and, families trying to get together for the holidays. So what are you going to be cooking up for us today, Chef?
Low-fat pork tenderloin with a pineapple red onion salsa. So first I'm just going to cut some lime because that's the acid in our dish, and a lot of people neglect to put acid in their dishes, like distilled vinegar is in a lot of salsas and apple cider vinegar is in a lot of salsas. I'm going to go ahead and put a glove on because this is jalapeños.
Absolutely. So if you're handling a spicy pepper, you recommend using a glove so that you don't transfer it maybe to your eye or somewhere that you don't want that spice to be. Is that right?
Yeah, one time in school at Le Cordon Bleu, I actually was cutting a habanero and touched my neck and had a second-degree burn on my neck all day.
Oh, wow.
Which
So
was super uncomfortable.
Yeah, that's really important. And I think you mentioned before that sometimes, if you're not a spice lover, like the spicy heat that a pepper would bring like that, you can leave it out of the recipe or add more if you want more spice. What's your recommendation on that?
I love a little spice. Jalapenos, a lot of people are afraid of. They're really actually not supposed to be hot. Okay. They're supposed to be a little bit more hot than a green onion or bell peppers.
Oh, wow.
A farmer in Texas decided to take it upon himself to crossbreed a lot of jalapenos. So now you have to really taste them before you cook with them because you're not really sure how hot they are.
Absolutely.
You can definitely do green bell pepper or maybe mix up the colors a little bit and do a little red bell pepper. But really any pepper that you prefer. A lot of the flavor comes from the onion and the pineapple. So
okay.
As long as you get good onion and pineapple, then you can play around with it as much as you want. Some people like to put a little mango in it and switch up the berries, maybe some blueberries.
Yeah.
Blueberries and pork go really well together.
That's great. And I like how you can, marry in different types of ingredients based on what you like to go with a particular dish. Because today we're, talking about using pork tenderloin when we're grilling instead of using like your traditional high salt, high fat hot dogs that people tend to go with on 4th of July and other outdoor holidays during the summer. And, it's an easy transition instead of using chicken every day.
Yeah, and a lot of people are afraid of red onion too, but you don't have to use a lot. You can use, you're at home. You don't have to make this the exact way I'm doing it. You can make it any way you want. You can even add scallions or anything like that to add a slightly different flavor. And after you do it the way that the recipe says, then you can really play around with it and
make it
your own. Yes.
Okay, good. Yeah, I like that.
Now these I just bought in a can. I just drained them. That's it.
Okay.
Cutting a pineapple can be a little dangerous actually because it's very, very fibrous, very thick.
As long as you're getting this type of pineapple in its own juice and not in the added sugars, you're cutting down on the extra sugar that's added in the dish, but it's going to bring out the sweetness and the savory of your ingredients for the pork. But you could also, if you decided you didn't want to do a salsa this time, maybe next time you want to throw those slices on the grill and just put them right on the heat. That also brings out a different deliciousness of sweetness.
Caramelization of the natural colors and flavors.
I like that, yeah. So again, everything we're using, everything that Chef brings out in his recipes are flexible, and you can add your own flavor and creativity when making these dishes.
Yeah, like I said, I really suggest making it to the actual recipe the first time, just so you have a general knowledge of the ins and outs of what you're doing, and then you can experiment with however you want.
Great.
And add and subtract whatever you want. You can add a little acid to the dish with a little lime juice and a little splash of salt. Literally just a little splash. That's ready for the grill later. Now it's the pork time.
Easy, easy.
Yeah, that was it with the salsa, and a lot of people think that you need to be complicated with your recipes. Let's check how easy this is.
And
a little bit of mustard.
That's a lovely piece of pork tenderloin. I'm glad that you're demonstrating it with gloves simply because
Wet hand, dry hand.
I myself do not like touching the raw meat, and always worried that I'm going to cross-contaminate into vegetables or fruits or anything like that I'm preparing with it. So I like how you can do that, and then you can just toss them away when you're ready to start the next part of your cooking.
Yes, and wet hand, dry hand works really well. This is dirty, this is not. I always have two on just in case I do need to use two hands. And I'm gonna go with a little bit of Mrs. Dash this time because I just found it again, and I looked at the ingredients, and man, this thing is just so universal.
Yeah, I love Mrs. Dash because every flavor that they have marries really well to whatever type of meat or vegetable, and they don't add any sodium. I love lots of different seasonings that they put out, and you just can buy them in your regular grocery store. So easy, looks beautiful.
Lovely, yes, and I am withholding the honey for now. Anything high in sugar or high in garlic will burn on a grill super fast.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna add a little bit at the very end just to cook it in a little bit, and that's my pro tip for today. Okay, here we are. Preheated the pan to a medium high. Sometimes I really don't like to use oil, but I'm gonna just do a little splash of avocado oil just so I don't get any burns on there, and
Hear that
get
sizzle.
a nice sizzle on there.
Now, how long do you expect to sear this pork loin?
I would say a couple minutes on each side. I'm going to finish it in the oven. A lot of times, a lot of people think that grilling is so hard because it gets too dark on the outside.
Okay.
And then burnt. It's too dark. So if you finish it in the oven, the internal temperature gets nice and easy, and it's a lot more of a controlled heat than any kind of dry heat like a grill.
Okay.
And literally, I'm thinking like 1 minute, maybe 2 minutes. And a lot of times people don't want to, oh, is it good? Is it good? Just pick it up, look at it. Look, that looks good to me. I'm gonna try to do 4 sides.
Okay.
And get grill marks all around it. The grill does enhance the flavor, even if you don't have smoke. This is a caramelization of the proteins and on the meat, so it enhances the flavor a lot. With loins, I do like to bake them a lot, so you can have that option if you find it to be too smoky. You can see there's really not going to be much smoke right now because it's a medium-high heat. But
just in case you are outside using the grill, you can throw this on the grill and do the same thing. Or tell us a little bit about what your plan is that we can use as another option. Like maybe you're planning a good 4th of July or summer gathering, and a thunderstorm pops up and you're not able to go outside and grill. And you have a nice, would you call that a searing pan?
Actually, it comes with a top, so you can use it as a lot of different things.
Okay.
But yeah, the bottom is the grill, the top is a regular pan, and together it's a steamer.
Okay.
I think this was from Home Shopping Network. I think it was about 30 bucks. Nothing I use at home is terribly expensive,
Okay.
Except for my knives.
So if we're cooking this indoors to get a good browned outside, that's a good pan to use. And then you're recommending that after a certain amount of time, you're going to finish it up in the oven and get it to what type of temperature are you looking to get it to?
Well, the safe temperature is 145 for pork tenderloins. So I'm going to try to stay around 145, 150. I'll put it on here because we're doing all this brown stuff in here is just extra flavor. So what we're going to do is just dump the salsa with all the ingredients right on there. Ooh, you can really smell the pork in here actually. It's a strong smelling additive, and I'm not even sure if I'm going to add any salt to this, just because of the salt on the pork and the flavors on the pork are going to transfer to this salsa and make it taste real nice. So you can see there's already getting some color on there, and you can see all the black flakes. That's the goodness from the pork and the seasoning that's left over from the caramelization on the pan.
So how long do you plan to cook the salsa and the meat?
The salsa is just about done.
Okay.
The meat probably in the oven about 8 to 10 minutes. So what we'll do right now is go and hit my trusty timer right now. When the pineapple starts to get a little bit softer than it normally is, you can see there's still a couple pieces in here that really don't have too much color.
Okay.
So probably about 2 more minutes. And then you can see other ones that are looking a little darker. There's a little bit of fond on there, a little bit of brown from the meat.
And if you were doing pineapple slices on the grill, would you also cook them just until you see the grill marks?
If you had an outside grill, I would actually put a piece of aluminum foil down and make a little cup out of it, and then put them in there, and maybe put the top on so the smoke gets into the actual product a little bit. What I did was I actually probably should have had it on the side, but there was a little bit of dry going on. You don't want this to get burnt at all. You just want it to be cooked through. So you don't want the actual heat to make it brown. You want the actual pieces of the pork to make it brown.
Okay.
Like that.
All right. And what does that do with making it more caramelized? Does it just add more flavor? Does it bring out the sweetness?
Yeah, it's actually taking up the fond, which is the French term for the leftover bits of the pork. And it's just caramelizing the natural sugars.
Okay.
We're done now, so what I'm going to do is just transfer it to a bowl or my trusty wok.
Okay.
Just to give it a stir. Boom. So it's not going to be super soft because who really likes that texture? There's still going to be a little bite to everything. But you can still see the onions are a little bit starting to turn a little translucent. That's exactly what you want. Stop it right there. Now all stoves run hot or cold, so I'm doing a bake at 350 to 400. I suggest maybe 400 for a solid piece of meat like this. It's looking pretty good. I think it might be a little under right now, but that is fine. And when you take a temperature, you want to take a temperature right in the middle. After letting it rest for 3 to 5 minutes, which lets the juices go back into the meat. You don't necessarily have to cut it into medallions or anything, but I think for plating wise, you eat with your eyes first. So we're going to make manageable, little, round.
I've always heard too, like, you know, when you're saying let it sit and rest, that it'll continue to cook a little bit once it's sitting or resting, as you call it. Is that, you know, how you want to allow for that in your cooking, or is it just automatic when you get to the temperature that you know it's ready at?
Any solid piece of meat, so any steak, roast, tenderloin, you have to let it rest.
Okay.
The size, it depends on the size, right? This was a little over a pound, so 3 minutes.
Okay.
A huge roast that you're gonna do for like a big family thing, 10 minutes, sometimes 20 minutes. If it's above 10 pounds, sometimes 15, 20 minutes.
Okay.
All right, let's dig in.